Hi, this is Kathleen Taylor, and I'm here at the SBA, the Small Business Administration, our district office here in Las Vegas, Nevada. And I'm really excited about sharing in a conversation about the different resources that the SBA has to offer for small business development. So it's my pleasure to have our fantastic partners at the SBA, excuse me, to self-introduce themselves. So we'll start with this comment here.
I'm Tom Martin. I'm a lender relations specialist with the SBA.
Thank you, Tom.
I am Tina Stace. I am an economic development specialist at the SBA.
Good morning, Tina.
Good morning, I'm Barry Van Orden. I'm a business opportunity specialist with the SBA, and I'm also the Veterans Business Outreach Coordinator.
Okay. Well, very good. Well, let's start with, why don't we explain to the audience what is the SBA? Give them a little background, and then we'll talk about the resources and programs that you guys offer. So how about we start with Tina?
Yeah, start with me. As an economic development specialist, I kind of am marketing, if you will, for the SBA. SBA is a federal agency, and we've been around since 1953, and we do a lot to support small businesses. We have resource partners that assist us because we are small. We have the SCORE, the Service Corps of Retired Executives. We have SBDC, the Small Business Development Center. And we also have our wonderful Women's Business Center, which Kathleen is part of here in Nevada. So these are resources that are free to the public because you've already paid for them with tax dollars. So, and they provide training, counseling, any kind of assistance with running your business that you might find. If you're a startup and you need help with, I don't even know where to start, SCORE would be a great place to start, as would any of them, really, the Women's Business Center and SBDC, but really contact them. Our webpage is sba.gov/NV, and you can find that information there. The SBA also has a government contracting side, and we have folks that oversee the larger agencies, make sure that they are giving the small set-aside contracts to small business owners. And then we have the 8A program, which is a 9-year business development program, which Barry Van Orden is one of our business opportunity specialists. He'll talk more about that a little bit later on. And then we also have lender relations, which is Tom Martin. He'll talk about our lending partners. SBA does have a 7A and 504 loan program. That is our largest programs that we have for lending. We don't do direct lending. As I mentioned, we have lender partners, and you would go to them to obtain that financing.
Okay.
In a nutshell, that's what we do.
Okay. This is wonderful. So talking a little bit more about your resources online. I'm a farmer entrepreneur, and I remember going online and going to the SBA's website, and it was fantastic with its different types of videos and training. I mean, it's very comprehensive, so I would highly recommend anyone that's starting a business to access your online resources too for training and development as well, in addition to all the other resources. Now, let's talk a little bit about how the pieces fit with the SBA and with other agencies such as the Small Business Development Centers, the Women Business Centers, how all those pieces fit, because there's some people that think that the Small Business Development Centers, the Women Business Centers, they're all separate entities and they're not a part of the SBA. How can we share with the audience that we're all on the same team, working together to help the entrepreneur develop themselves? So, Tina?
All the resource partners that you mentioned are standalone organizations. However, they are partially funded through SBA. So SBA, they receive grant money to run that for our business owners, for our startups, for anyone that's looking for assistance. So we're kind of like an umbrella organization, if you want to look at it that way, and that we all work together. And if you go to the Women's Business Center, for example, and you find that you go on SCORE and you find that a mentor, that's great. You can utilize all three of our resources. Small Business Development Center also provides help with putting a loan package together if you're interested in obtaining an SBA loan. There's so many, and like you said, the SBA.gov is loaded with templates and information, and so the resource partners really feed off of that as well. So if you're in there and you're working on a business plan, for example, because we do have a business plan template, get stuck, take that to SCORE. They'll review it with you. They'll look at it with you. They'll say, give you some guidance. They're not going to write it for you, but they will certainly help you with that, as will the Women's Business Center. And Women's Business Center has that wonderful Dream Builder program, which I tell everybody about, because that's a great resource, especially for somebody that's step one, but even before they look at a business plan. They don't even know where to start. That's a good place to start. And that's something, right, they can do on their own time.
Yes, sure do.
Sure. So it's online. So it's available 24/7 to work out. So, lots of resources, lots of information.
Yes, and speaking of resources and information, can we talk a little bit about the funding side of the SBA and what an advantage it is to have this as an alternative to a traditional bank or a credit union for someone who needs startup funds or has a business that's established?
Well, one fallacy, that we have people come in, SBA does not, as Tina mentioned, we do not loan any money directly. Everything goes through our lending partners. There's two basic programs, the 7A program, the 504 program. The 7A is what happens is a person goes into a lender, applies for a loan, the lender turns around and applies for a guarantee from SBA. So we guarantee between 75 and 85%, depending on the size of the loan. We guarantee that loan in case there was ever a loss to the lender. The government will step in and on that loss. On the 504 program, it's for real estate and fixed assets. And you go through a CDC, Community Development Corporation, and which kind of represents SBA and your lender, and they partner together to make real estate or fixed asset loan. It doesn't take quite as much down payment, 10 to 15%, depending on the real estate, but it helps someone get into a business. For startups, SBA does not have any requirement, for we do fund the startups, but we do go through the lender and we rely on their expertise so that's where our partners, whether it's the SBDC or SCORE or the Women's Business Center, to step in and help one get prepared. And a lot of times we'll have people come into us and we'll, refer them back to them to help them get prepared, whether it's a business plan, whether it's a cash flow, financial statement, in order to go to the lender to seek funds.
Very good. And in that, could you explain what that preparation or process entails, at least from a general perspective?
Well, the business plan is the most important by far, but you also have to have specific goals, specific items and time. I hear lenders every day, someone will come in and says, I want a loan. And the banker will say, how much do you need? They'll say, how much can I get?
Right.
You can't be that. You have to be
Right.
prepared. You got to know what your expenses are. You got to know what your costs are.
Mm-hmm.
The more prepared you are when you go into any lender, the more chances of success it is. And I tell somebody every day, when you go in, you're selling yourself. That's the thing. And how you present yourself, how prepared you are when you go to that lender, it helps you tremendously as far as getting funding.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of preparation for opportunity, The SBA has a wonderful 8A certification program that is available for business owners, and Barry can tell us more about that. So, how would one prepare or apply and then go through the process of the 8A certification program?
Okay, so the 8A Business Development Program, it's a 9-year comprehensive program designed for socially and economically disadvantaged people. And the basis of the program is all business development. And we do that with training, outreach, marketing. We really prepare the businesses. Now, to prepare, what you need to do is first you have to be registered to do business with the federal government. To do that, there's a website called SAM, System for Award Management. You can register there. Once you do that, you have to meet some criteria. There are several criteria. Like I said, you have to be socially and economically disadvantaged. Your business has to be at least 2 to 3 years in business and to have revenue and tax returns. That's for potential for success. You have to be at least 51% owned by the socially and economically disadvantaged person. That person has to be the highest compensated. They have to be the key decision maker, and so on. Now, besides the 8A Business Development Program, there's government contracting in general. And the good thing about that is the government buys a lot of stuff, over $500 billion a year in counting. And there's other socioeconomic programs too. But what I want to get at for the small business programs is there's a congressional statute that has to be 23% of all dollars spent go to small businesses. Now, one big advantage of the 8A Business Development Program, once you get in, is you have a competition pool when there's set-asides. Normally something from a procurement, say Nellis is buying landscaping service. They would look at all businesses to include large. They would quickly exclude large and go to small business. But then they can go to these other smaller programs. The good thing about the 8A program is you can get sole source contracting. So instead of having a competition pool of, say, 70 vendors, it could be coming down to you. Now, the 8A program doesn't guarantee that you're going to get government contracts, but if you get into the program, there's a large probability.
Okay, excellent. Now, I'd like to kind of delve into what may be the perception of the SBA in the community that doesn't quite understand what the SBA is. And I'd like to share that the SBA, the organization overall, is very supportive in anyone's development as an entrepreneur. And it's not this entity that's way over here that's unattainable. I really would like to emphasize to the audience or someone that wants to start a business that the SBA is a very supportive entity in your development as a small business owner with amazing programs, and not just from the community perspective, but from an agency perspective too. You guys have been so supportive in our development as a women's business center. So what are a couple things that you could share to kind of dispel the misconception of the SBA in the community? How about we start with you, my dear?
Well, the one thing that I hear very often when I'm out in public or speaking to groups is, it takes forever to get an SBA loan. That I've waited 8 or 9 months. And I can't dispute that years ago because there were times when it was very time consuming to get an SBA loan. Anymore with the new programs that we've established the last 2 years, lenders can process loans very quickly. Mm-hmm. And a lot of lenders, which most lenders are what we call preferred lenders, they make a lot of the decisions themselves. So that's one thing that I think right off the bat scares people, the paperwork and the time it takes to get a loan.
Sure. Okay, thank you. And so the paperwork and then the time it takes to pay the loan, but now that process has been streamlined over the years and it's more efficient. So I'm glad that you brought that up.
I might want to add on that, Tom, of the technology, that we have today. It's like, for example, Link is one of the things that SBA has put on our webpage. It's a place where a small business owner can go and answer a few questions about their business. And what does it do? It sends it out to lenders.
So lenders have,
It's kind of like a matchmaking, right?
Right, it
It's,
lenders, go per zip code, they apply, say, I want to look at all the loans in a certain area, and they get in there. And if you go to the SBA website, that's it's right there in plain, it's on the right-hand
Oh,
side. It
wow.
says,
lender lending, yeah.
it's a LINC, you'll see it, and you can just click on that, and it pulls up the information right away.
Oh, excellent. So it's easily accessible.
Yeah, and then lenders will contact the business
Right.
owners directly. Yeah. A lot of times when I'm in the small business community, a lot of people sometimes don't even know what SBA is, which is, for us, is kind of funny, but we, we are here to assist in all kinds of ways for small businesses. So, with our resource partners, with our lending program, with our contracting assistance, SBA also has advocacy, which they have out of Washington. So a small business owner is maybe just one person, and there's legislations or things that are concerning to their business or impacting their business. They can contact SBA and because they do testify in front of Congress on behalf of small business owners. So that's another thing that we do that is helpful. Is that you're not really alone. You have the SBA. So it's just another thing that we do.
Okay, very good. And Barry?
So I deal with a lot of people, and they don't always know that there's a lot of resources out there as far as transparency information if you're trying to research contracts, as far as what was awarded, what types of information is out there, or if you're looking for your competitors as far as business. We have a program called Dynamic Small Business Search. You can search, you can find out if there's other small businesses with your NAICS code. There's all types of teaming arrangements that you can do. And one thing I failed to mention earlier is we have another resource partner that we use all the time for contracting, and that's the PTAC, that stands for the Procurement Technical Assistance Center. They fall under the Governor's Office of Economic Development, GOED, and they're uniquely funded. They get half their funding through Defense Logistics Agency through a cooperative agreement, and the other half is from state matching programs. And they do a lot of different things for federal contracting certifications also, along with some other programs.
Okay, excellent. Now, let's talk a little bit about contracting. So let's say that someone is going after a contract and they need funding and they're seeking funding. They're seeking funding and they're looking at the SBA for funding for that particular contract. So what would be the process? You said in the beginning or earlier that having a business plan, getting your startup costs, in order, that's all a part of it. So how about for a contract, like on a project by project basis? Is that something? Is the SBA funding option as well for someone that's looking at a contract from a project basis?
Yes, and it depends on the contract and how the contract's written. Because if the contract can be assigned, the proceeds assigned, then a lender can use the proceeds from the contract as collateral, in order to make a loan. And I know that's done quite often. But you can go to the lender and use an SBA loan to fund the funds you need for a contract. But like I said, not all contracts you can do that to, some you can, so.
Okay. I'd like to kind of go a little bit more personal and professional with the three of you. The three of you have a plethora of experience in small business development. Would you mind sharing with the audience what your journey has been to maneuver and go through your professional career to get to this point? Because I'm 47. When I was in college, there was no such thing as a small business certification or a small business development major, that kind of thing. You were either a business major or going for your MBA. But small business development is its own, like niche, so to speak. So would you mind sharing with the audience a little bit about your background and your journey through this?
Well, I've been around a long time. I
We
first
all have.
started many, many years ago with USDA. And I worked for USDA 6 years in their lending program, which was ag. At that time, was ag and all the housing in cities under 20,000. We covered everything. From there, I went into banking. I've spent, close to 25 years in the banking industry. And then I just came back to SBA the last 5 years.
Oh, okay, then. That's interesting. So you have the funding experience in banking and lending, and that transfers over into SBA funding as well as an option.
Right, and in this office, we're really lucky because we also have Roy Brady, the other LR lender relations specialist, who also has tremendous banking and SBA lending experience.
Okay, excellent. So we're definitely in good hands in that regard. So Tina, could you share a few pearls of wisdom of your journey through this?
Well, I started out in banking, and then an opportunity. I worked for 8 years with the FDIC in liquidation. We were Western Regional Liquidation Office, and FDIC at that time decided to consolidate their liquidation, and they closed our offices. So I didn't want to move to Dallas, Texas. So I took a job with the SBA in Los Angeles, and I've been with the SBA since 1998, and
Wow.
in all kinds of different various capacities. I started out in liquidation, and I'm an administrative officer. I also did some business development work and economic development work, and so now here I am in Las Vegas doing basically all that. So yeah, all kinds of hats. So,
Yes,
yes.
that's a good thing. Thank
Yeah.
you, Barry.
So I've been with SBA for about 3.5 years.
He's a baby.
Yes, I'm the newbie, or one of them. Before that, I've actually retired from the Air Force in 2010. I did a lot of different things when I was in the Air Force, and after that, I went into contracting, federal contracting. I did some time with the Navy, and then the Marines, and then Defense Logistics Agency. While I was at Defense Logistics Agency, I worked a lot with a lot of the small businesses and a lot of the small business programs. So I really understand the contracting perspective, the contracting officer, contracting specialist, and then what the businesses go through all the loopholes. So that really prepared me to come here and counsel people with the Small Business Administration.
Oh, excellent. And I was really impressed with the newest member of your staff. Our agency went to a fantastic event last Friday called Challenge Her, and your colleague Shane,
Derby.
Shane Derby, had a fantastic presentation about contracting and how to maximize your certification as well as a business owner. So it's good to put a face with the name, and also to kind of humanize, so to speak, the SBA, so that the audience knows that, what, there are people that are there in my corner, and an organization that's there in my corner to help me through the whole process of becoming an established business owner or a better business owner. So with that said, what would be some pearls of wisdom that you would give someone that's starting a business, and also someone who has an established business owner, and how the SBA can help them in their development?
Well, I think the biggest thing and I'm taking from years of banking experience too, the biggest reason for failure of business is not the business not making money. It's the business owner being able to pay his bills.
Good point.
So, we always had a saying, don't quit your day job. And what I really mean by that is be prepared. When you're going to start a business, be prepared. How am I going to fund my house payment, my car payment? And I think a lot of people don't think of that when they go to the lender. And I know being a lender and talking to lenders, that's one big critical thing. that you need to. And, an existing business, it's keeping records. When you bring your information into a lender, you need to be able to back up saying, why do I need the money? How am I going to pay the money back? And kind of simple, but, when you get the entrepreneur, which I'm definitely not one, the person, they're so optimistic.
Yes.
Everything's going to work, but when you get into the lending, it's reality.
Absolutely.
And so you have to get the two of them together. You need to be prepared to go in and speak to a lender, or even come and talk to us, because we after people go to SCORE or SBDC, a lot of times they'll come into us and we'll, try to figure out, what's the best type, which that's here too. They can talk to us anytime on what's the best type of loan, how do I fund it? And, we'll try to, and if we see some loopholes, we'll try to help them, close it or figure out what they can do.
Now, the comment you made about an established business owner and having their paperwork in order, are you, what type of documentation are you referring to? Like, is it taxes or accounting statements?
It's really both, but the one thing you got to remember, if it doesn't say it on your taxes, you didn't make it.
Good point.
For a lender.
Good point.
And, I've met many, many people that have businesses that are cash type businesses, and they come in, well, I really made more than that. Well, if it doesn't say it on your taxes, it's not, the lender is not going to take it, and, unless you want to show your deposits, but if you're going to show deposits and you don't on your taxes, that's another story. But anyway, that's the big thing. I've known people or friends of mine that started business, and I always tell them, pay as much tax as you can when you first start out. So when you do need money and you go into a lender, you say, well, I am profitable.
Oh, very good point. That's a really good tidbit. Thank you for that. Yes, Tina, any pearls of wisdom you'd like to share?
I would say that, the small business owners that I meet, you can see they have passion, they have the drive and the vision and so forth. But sometimes they're not really well versed in the, financials part of running the business. So they have the vision. So I would say educate yourself, take advantage of all the resources that we have available. SBA.gov, again, wonderful, comprehensive webpage. Women's Business Center, SCORE, SBDC, Small Business Development Center, us, we're here. So if you get lost, confused, call us. We'll help steer you in the right direction. Just educate yourself, because I think that, and I understand it's hard. You're trying to run a business, but it's important, because your survival of your business is not, your business is not going to survive unless you make sure you have all your ducks in a row. So that would be my advice to a small business.
And I really appreciate that, because it's really important to know that you have resources in the community so that you don't have to do this by yourself. It's a totally different mentality and shifting from employee to employer. And there's a lot more involved than just the day-to-day operations. In addition to that, you also have the administrative responsibilities too, in building your infrastructure. So I'm glad that you.
And I wanted to mention that April 6th, we're going to start our third year of Emerging Leaders. It's a business development program that we've been lucky enough to have here. This will be our third year in Nevada, and it's for small businesses that are growing and they need to take their business to the next level. It's basically a mini MBA program, which it's free. It's free.
Wow.
It's free.
That's amazing.
And, we have all these, they talk about HR, they talk about finances, they talk about contracting, they talk about, I don't know what else. Just a 7-month intense program for free. And, it's something that it's a prepared curriculum from throughout the country. And they have participants from the last 3 years have come back, and they've shown how much their companies have grown, how much they've been able to take advantage of this. That's just another one of our initiatives that we have. So always check our webpage. There's always something new and exciting happening at the SBA.
That's fantastic. Yes, Barry.
So from a contracting perspective, I always encourage people to make sure they understand the requirement. Any requirement put out by the contracting office will have a solicitation typically, or a request for proposal. And it's very important that businesses understand doing business with the government is a little more complicated than doing business on the private sector. And sometimes they don't understand hidden costs and hidden inefficiencies. For example, if you get a contract with the Department of Energy or Nellis Air Force Base, you might be waiting to get in. There might be some security requirements, and you might, have a person sitting at the gate for an hour or two. So those are things to keep in mind. Another thing I let people know too is you don't always have to be a prime contractor to start. There's a lot of subcontracting opportunities, and there's so many businesses that have really become great prime contractors because they were a subcontractor to start out with. And the SBA actually has a website called SBA Subnet, and you can put it in a search engine and it'll come right up. And one thing I wanted to say too, I'm sure this goes for all of us here, is if you contact us, we'd be more than happy to meet with you in person or on the phone or whatever suits your needs.
Yeah, definitely.
You might,
Yes.
I don't
Oh,
know,
go
but
ahead.
maybe Barry, talk a little about the new Mentor-Protege. Do you want to talk about
Sure.
that?
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Please.
So the SBA is actually
Expert.
the SBA is actually through Congress passing some laws, came out with the all SBA Mentor-Protege Program. They also came out with some changes to the joint venture program that hopefully I'll remember to talk about. And another rule change was similar situated entities. So we'll talk about the Mentor-Protege Program first. It used to be the Mentor-Protege Program was only for the 8A program participants. Now it's for all business owners,
very
all
good.
small businesses. And some of the benefits are it's a business development program also, so you can put together the all small Mentor-Protege. You do it online through the SBA.gov, go over to the contracting section and then scroll down, and it gives you all about the program. But some of the benefits are is if a small business is the protege and the mentor is a large business, once they get everything set up and approved, they can be granted a waiver from affiliation. So what that means is when they put the joint venture together, even though they might joint venture with a company that could be perceived as other than small, they can go ahead and have that waiver. So that's really good. And then they get a lot of technical assistance in different things. It could be accounting, it could be past performance with the joint venture. That's one of the rules that changed with the joint ventures now is you, two things. The first thing is you can get past performance credit for all participants of the joint venture. The other thing that happened is the SBA has size standards for a small business. So for construction, for example, it's normally $36.5 million. So under the previous rules for joint ventures, both companies together had to be under that size standard. Now what happens is both companies just have to be under that size standard each at time of award.
Oh, excellent.
So that's a big change.
That's big.
Another change besides the joint ventures, as I mentioned, was similar situated entities. So basically what that is we have different small business set-asides. It could be veteran-owned small business, woman-owned small business, 8A business development program, or hub zone. And if you have a hub zone that, for example, we use hub zone. If you have a hub zone that wants to subcontract out to another hub zone, they can do that now, and it still counts as their performance of work because
very good.
according to the regulations, there's a performance of work requirement. And I don't want to get into all the details, but for most things, services, it's 50%. So if you have a hub zone that can only do 30%, but they find another hub zone, and it was a hub zone set aside, and they subcontract out 25%, it's like they did 55%. So they meet that requirement.
Wow,
So
I like that.
yeah, it's really designed to give businesses a boost.
Yeah, definitely. And please, how would someone go about and going through the process to qualify or apply for the Mentor-Protege project?
So actually that is done all online now. Everything is done electronically. It's through certify.sba.gov. But if you go to sba.gov, the good thing about our website is the banners up top don't move. So contracting is in the middle. You can just scroll over contracting, and then we'll go down to other contracting programs. So we'll say Mentor-Protege Program, all small Mentor-Protege Program. And then you just go ahead and you can apply. Both the mentor and the protege actually have to do some online training. It's about 30 minutes. I did it. It's really good information. And then you just upload that certificate, and then all the other documents get uploaded into certify.sba.gov. And then approval times normally within 2 months.
Oh, very good. Okay. Are there any closing remarks that each of you would like to provide to the audience? This has been a fantastic and resourceful conversation, and I'm glad that we took the time to actually let the community know that the SBA is a very supportive organization, established organization that has a plethora of resources. So, yes.
The only other thing I'd like to mention is we do, and it's getting more and more in this area, is the exporting of products. Any business doing exporting, there are programs, Export Working Capital. There's also Export Express, which has a little better terms and guarantees for lenders for people that are exporting products. Now, the one fallacy to this, you do not have to exactly be an exporter. You just have to be making a product or distributing a product to a company that is exporting.
Oh, okay.
So if you're doing any part of your partner going exporting, and it's just a little better, the banks have a little more incentive to make those loans.
Okay, and I'd also would like to ask you, can someone contact the SBA for a list of manufacturers for manufacturing purposes, or?
I don't know if it's SBA, you might have to, Department of Commerce, U.S.
Yeah.
They carry more of that stuff than we do as far as on the exporting side. They're actually, but we really do more on the lending side than we do on the actual knowledge of that stuff. But
Okay.
I'm sure if they contact us, we can get them in touch with with U.S. Commercial Service to do that.
Okay, thank you. Tina?
I just want to say that, remember, small businesses is what we're here for. So take advantage of our services and our products, our loan, our resource partners, our knowledge. Call us. We're here to assist. The SBA, that's our mission. So take advantage of that. And I was going to make another point, but I can't remember what it was.
Oh, that's okay. Actually, I'd like to make a point as well. Tina, would you like to speak about the fantastic training space that the SBA has available? So if an agency has training or workshops or events, perhaps they could collaborate with the SBA in that way.
Absolutely. We're in our fantastic training room here. We have space. So if anyone is interested in presenting training or to workshops for small business owners, contact me, and we'll see if we can get it done. We're always looking for different trainers and different subject matters, that experts to train our small business owners. It's christina.stays@sba.gov. So contact me or just look me up on the webpage.
Okay, thank you. Barry?
So the SBA, of course, is a federal agency, and the federal government buys a lot of this stuff. But we're also connected here with the state, the county, the city, school district, FAA. Well, I say FAA, but the airport, for example, does half FAA and half Clark County. So if you just don't want to do contracting with the federal government, we can really help you, point you in other directions too. We understand all of the different entities out here in Nevada.
Oh, excellent.
So thank you, Kathleen. It was really a great conversation this morning, and I thank you for coming to visit us.
Oh, thank you. I really enjoyed it. This is the fun part of being a part of the team consisting of the Nevada Women's Business Center, the SBA, our resource partners. So thank you so much for your words of wisdom, for your time today, and for sharing the resources of the SBA with the community. So thank you so much, and thank you for tuning in as well online. Until next time, take care and much success in small business development. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yay.
She's good, isn't she?
Mhm.